The earthquakes in Chile and Haiti, as well as the snowstorms back east, gave us a good wake-up call recently, reminding us of the importance of preparing for emergencies. Okay, by a show of hands, how many people are prepared for the next big one? I mean really prepared. No, not me. No, some are. That's good. Okay, how many of us are learning more about what it takes to be prepared and taking some steps to get there? Yeah, me too. The task can seem daunting. It can seem overwhelming. What in the world could you possibly, how could you start? In workshops, when I'm asked, how do I begin? I say, first, store some water. With the plethora of resources out there from very good sources, Homeland Security, Red Cross, lots of state, federal, and local agencies, there's a lot of information. And they all say one of the first things you should do is gather emergency supplies. And almost all of them say, first, store some water. Water, then food, and then other stuff. But they all say, store water. That's pretty interesting. So what's the big deal about water? Why is it so important? Why is it so darn important? Well, we can live for days without food. Some of us can live for more days than others, but we really can't live that long without water. We are made up of 90% water. We need water flowing through us for all the biological and chemical reactions that help us survive, that allow us to survive. One very important rule in an emergency situation is allow people to drink as much water as they need today while you look for water for tomorrow. That bears repeating. Allow folks to drink as much water as they need today while you search for water tomorrow. Very, very important. Now, when I'm in my workshops, people will give me a long list of reasons why they don't need to store water. I live right by a creek. I'm only 100 yards away from a lake. Heck, there's snow all the time in the winter. There's plenty of water around. Well, can you imagine if you had plenty else to do in an emergency, how nice it would be to have bought a few bottles of water to have around, to not have to go out and find your water. Also, if you have a sick or injured child, would you want to have to be able to say, sweetie, I know you're thirsty. I'll be right back. I'm going to go to the lake, chip some ice, lug it back to the house, and melt it. It really won't take that long. It really takes a long time. Try it and see. Wouldn't it be a whole lot easier to have stopped at the store, gotten a few gallons of water, and had it in your house instead? How much water? How much water do you need? We'll get to that in a minute. Also, if the emergency is related to a volcanic ash deposition or floods, then perhaps the water in the area, the surface water you'd rely upon, would be contaminated. Do you really want to add decontamination to your already full workload? I think not. How much water do you need? Most of the sources say each person needs about 1 gallon of water for drinking and basic sanitation in an emergency situation. And they pretty much all say store enough for 3 days. And don't forget the pets. They need water too. Also, people who have illnesses and other special needs like nursing mothers might need more. So I encourage you to calculate how much water you should have for your family. This grocery cart has 9 gallons of water in it, just about right to store for a family of 3. And it only costs about $14. Or if you would rather store water from the tap, you can find food-grade containers, plastic containers preferred, sterilize them, clean them, fill them with water, and then store them for use. This jug takes up just as much space empty as it does full. Fill it with water. But don't forget to sterilize. Sterilizing a container, use 1 tablespoon of unscented bleach per gallon of water, swirl it around, let it sit for 2 minutes, and then fill it with water and add 1/8 of a teaspoon of bleach in the water that you're storing. My philosophy on emergency preparedness is take it 1 step at a time, but be sure to start. Start now. Tonight, go home, put water on your list for groceries, and fill a couple containers of water. With that simple step, your family will be better prepared.